Okay, is the comedian ready? So, welcome to the Too Old or Pure Gold Movie Podcast. In today's episode, we're discussing the 1999 crime movie, The Limey. The format of our podcast, two Gen Xers rewatch beloved movies from our youth to find out, are they really as good as we remember? To help us debate and ultimately pass judgment, we ask our millennial co-hosts to watch these movies for the first time and help us determine, are they too old or pure gold? I'm your host, Olen Vanderleeden, representing Gen X. Joining me today is my Gen X co-host, Mathew Stockton.
Hello, everybody.
Also joining us today, we're very excited to have a special guest, Gareth Scales.
Hello. Hey,
Gareth.
it's technically Gareth C. Scales is my film credit. Yeah, it's to
great.
represent my mom. I've got my mom's last name is my middle name.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's a little shout out to my mom.
Cool. Well, I wrote an intro for you. I'm going to read it, and then you can tell me
You can tell them if it's
If it's
wrong
close.
or embarrassing.
if it's wrong. We are excited to welcome Gareth Scales, an editor whose invisible cuts and tonal instincts shaped stories you feel long after the credits roll. Gareth has worked across film and television, bringing emotional clarity and rhythmic precision to projects like After Love, The Courier, How to Build a Girl, and series such as Peaky Blinders, which I love, by the way, Penny Dreadful and Electric Dreams. So we're very excited to have you on here today, Gareth. I got so many questions about editing, but maybe we'll talk about those in the context of the film. And by the way, you brought a really cool title to us today. This is a film I just don't think I ever would have seen if you hadn't have mentioned it.
Oh, great.
But without the millennials, we don't have a podcast. So representing the millennials this week, we have comedian, host of the Absolutely Obscure Movie Podcast, and cinephile, Josh Fleming.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me back.
Also representing the millennials, we have a regular co-host and most likely to seek revenge, Anthony.
Good morning, guys.
Anthony. Josh, I like your new do.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I just got a cut.
So today's movie is the 1999 crime movie, The Limey. The Limey stars Terence Stamp, who I sometimes confuse with Ben Kingsley, so sorry, Terence. I know Matthew's going to make fun of me for that.
You're a heathen.
Peter Fonda and Louise Guzman in this. The Limey was directed by Steven Soderbergh. Soderbergh got his start with movies like Sex, Lies, and Videotape, which was his debut. And after this movie, he went on to have a ton of great movies, including Ocean's 11, Traffic, and Mathew, your favorite, Magic Mike. Steven has a Best Director Oscar for Traffic and was nominated for Aaron Brockovich, so I think he knows what he's doing. And this movie was written by Len Dobbs, and there's a lot of interesting trivia about how Soderbergh and Dobbs got along. The tagline from the movie poster is, there isn't one on the movie poster, but they had two of them that they used in the marketing. The first one was, vengeance knows no boundaries. And the second one was, tell them I'm coming. And I prefer the latter.
Tell them I'm coming.
Totally.
I like that. It's one of my favorite moments in the film where he's like, because I love he runs out and he's just like, tell him I'm coming. And then you just hear Peter Fonda go, tell him I'm coming, like over. So I wanted to add that in. There you go.
No, it's great, and that was completely improvised, for the record. IMDb describes the film as an extremely volatile and dangerous Englishman goes to Los Angeles to find the man he considers responsible for his daughter's death. It's a great setup. Now, for those of you that have not seen the movie, I asked my 93-year-old dad to watch The Limey and summarize the plot. So, Gareth, every movie we do, this is just I don't know why I started doing this, but we've done it in every episode. I get my poor old father to watch every movie. Ones like Porky's are interesting. And then we see if he can explain it. Now, this one, sorry, it's 2 minutes long, but I thought you guys would be interested because I think he did a good job on this.
It's pretty quick for him.
Josh is already laughing.
This is my favorite part of the podcast.
A tough British criminal named Wilson is known as the Limey. We first see him, a handsome, tough-looking guy, in a plane traveling to Los Angeles to avenge the murder of his daughter Jenny. He has just been released from jail and now intends to find Terry Valentine, a wealthy music producer and former boyfriend of Jenny. Wilson literally fights his way through many of Valentine's contacts and associates. When he succeeds, Wilson intends to kill him, but he doesn't. And we have to guess what is real and what is imagination. This is where the movie has many surprises. The story is told in a non-linear way. At some point, we find out that Valentine had killed Jenny by accident, and that one of his associates arranged a car accident to hide the real cause. In the final confrontation on a beach, we expect that it is finally going to happen, but Wilson doesn't kill him, and we wonder why. What's the point of killing Valentine? Does he think of similarities between himself and Valentine? Does he think of father and daughter relationships, of their absence as parents? Does he have regrets? All of those things. Anyway, who knows? The bottom line for me is that this movie totally held my attention and could be a subject for much discussion.
There you go.
That's great.
He loved this movie. He can't stop talking about it. And I thought he did a not bad
That was
plot summary there.
one of his better ones. Pretty succinct.
I think it was good, although he said something really interesting, which I think is a really interesting thing about the editing of the film. Which, I mean, this is sort of diving in. And to digress, I might have to run off to answer the door,
okay.
just so you know.
You're not the only editor here.
Exactly.
I can handle it.
So back to, so basically he said something right at the beginning, which I think is a really interesting thing. He said, the film opens with Terry Valentine going to LA on a plane.
Ah.
He doesn't. The film is actually opening on him returning. And the entire film, I don't know if everyone picked this up, the entire film is actually a flashback. And
that was the conversation
that
with
was
the
the
lady.
conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gareth, like
I missed it.
I'm so glad you chose this movie because it is I just loved it so much. And you know, I've worked in commercials, right, for advertising, so I've been in editing suites, but I don't know what makes a perfect edit. So I'm really glad we have you on the show today.
Pleasure.
But what I found, and I've never really paid attention to an edit when I watch a movie, but because I knew you were on, I paid attention to the edit, right? And because, you know, edits are usually like part of the film that people, like the average moviegoer, doesn't notice.
That's what they say. If you notice the editing, it's not good editing.
So what I felt about this one was the Limey didn't feel like it was assembled to me. It feels like it was felt. Like Sarah Flack didn't just piece it together. Like she actually listened to it. And, you know, for me, she has like the pauses, the anger, and the ghosts in between the lines. And it's cut, for me, it was cut in the way that Wilson thinks, in shards and flashes, you know, and it's full of unfinished sentences and impossible memories. And I felt like I wasn't watching the movie unfold. I felt like I was remembering the story with him.
And that's
right?
exactly what's happening, is that it starts
with all the
memories.
wrong, beautiful, out of time things. And there's one scene where he's talking, but the sound is just slightly off, and so his mouth is moving before the word comes out, and it just, for me, it felt like a memory. So like, I'm so glad I paid attention to this because I was enthralled with the editing of this. It was such a good movie. Anyway, that's my spiel.
Yeah, it's very cool. I'd love to hear from our millennial co-hosts here what you guys thought of this movie.
Well, you know, it's funny. Any sort of issue I had was just kind of negated by that reveal that it was a whole flashback, because that does make sense. Because the only thing I was a little thrown by was, like, yes, the flashes and moments when I was like, well, that hasn't happened yet. But if it's all in memory, then it all happened pre the story. So, I mean, it kind of makes it, it's very smart. I don't know. But that's I want to rewatch it, honestly. That's like my biggest thing, is now I want to re-see it, knowing that.
You know, with that magical moment where I think I fully realized that it was a memory was when he asked the one character how he knew his daughter, and then they said they were in acting class together. And then you flash to him on a plane, and there's just a little smile. Like she was getting on with her life. She was doing something. I'm like, oh my God, this is a memory.
Anthony, what did you think of it?
Overall, it was a good movie. I knew Matthew was gonna love it. I, to be perfectly honest, I did not like the cinematography. I don't know if that's editing or not. I didn't like how there was
Ooh.
all these layers and it felt overly like they were trying too hard to be something it wasn't. I don't know. It didn't jive with me.
Yeah, it's a fair comment. I mean, this is why we want all the different opinions on this podcast.
And I just wanted to push back on you. You said, "Oh, sorry." Originally you started saying it was a comedy, whatever, and then you said, "No, it's not." I disagree. I think there was lots of funny parts, intentional and maybe unintentional. I thought they did a really good job of that.
Well, it's a good point. You know, I got that the category I pulled from IMDb, and it said comedy, crime, movie, and yeah, I corrected myself as I was reading because I'm like, it wasn't a comedy, even though we have a comedian on the podcast. Okay, that's interesting observation. I mean, look, I really liked it because it's interesting. This is for me one of the so Gareth. On this podcast, my role is the dumb guy that just likes action films, and Mathew is the smart guy that understands things that are going on.
Olen likes action films and boobs.
Yeah, Roadhouse, the original, is my favorite film, just to kind of level set you.
I mean, you're into martial arts. I understand. I get it.
It's true. It's true. But, you know, I love these kinds of episodes when we have movies that I know that there's something deeper to it. And then I usually feel much different about them after the podcast when I hear what everybody has to say about it. I found this really interesting. Not your typical revenge film. I thought it was much more focused on character than the action per se. I don't know. It's not what I was expecting. And then the editing was just, it was mesmerizing for me. It felt a bit like Memento.
Interesting.
If that's a fair comparison. Yeah. So I think I liked it, but I'll confirm at the end.
It's funny. I mean, I hadn't seen it in years, but when you're like, "Oh, can you suggest something that has editing in the forefront?" I always suggest this film for like a lot. You know, I work with like a lot of younger assistants and stuff, and this is one of those films that kind of when it came out, I loved it, and then it kind of went under the radar, and it's, you know, it was released in the late '90s, so it just kind of, you know, it was along with a lot of other independent films. It just kind of didn't win any awards, so it kind of came and went. But to me, I think it's a film that A, just like you say, has this incredible editing, but B, it's just a really interesting way to tell a story. Sorry, and I just think it's something that is it's not unique. Like there are other films that do this, but I think it's one that successfully does it, and does it in a way that also is kind of cool because it's kind of about a guy. It's like a noir LA story about a hitman and you know what I mean? Like, so that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, he was a great tough guy. Like he really did play that well. So I read this. So I read that Soderbergh said that the original cut was very linear and straightforward, but then he and the editor sat down and began playing with time, editing to reflect Wilson's disorientation and emotional state. The choppy timeline became the film's defining style.
It was just
yeah. Well, it's hilarious. The commentary. I had the DVD at some point in my life, and the commentary was hilarious because it was the writer and Soderbergh. And it's like, it starts out and it's like, "Hi, I'm Steven Soderbergh, I'm the director." And then the writer's like, "Hi, I'm blah, blah, blah." And then the writer goes, "And I wrote a very linear film, and this is not a linear film whatsoever." And then they basically argue for the next 90 minutes over the film as to why it does or doesn't work. It's brilliant.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the writer definitely blamed Soderbergh for wrecking the film. There's everything I read on this. Those two hated each other, and there's interesting trivia on it. And obviously we're spoiling the fact that it didn't do well, but we'll find out how not well in a little bit. Also, I read Soderbergh said he wanted it to feel like a ghost of the 60s walking through the 90s. And he wanted the movie to feel haunted, sort of lost ideals, lost time, lost people.
Yeah. Well, I think he did that in the casting, like all the cast, you know, even the one of my favorite casting is, I'm terrible with names, but the guy who plays sort of Peter Fonda's Heavy, who wears the amber glasses and stuff. He's like a big star from the 60s and 70s. And he just has that, like, action stars don't have that aura anymore. Like, he's just a dude in a suit who looks menacing. And nowadays he'd have to be all like buffed up and, you know, kind of cut and stuff. but there's this guy who just is scary just in his presence, and I think it's amazing casting because that's kind of who he'd played throughout his career.
I agree. I really like that guy's role.
Yeah.
He played it very well.
I like non-conventional tough guys. I had it in my best parts. Tough old guys. It gives me hope. and then so I did do a little bit of more research than I normally would on this, and because I knew Mathew would have a bunch of stuff too. So I read up on something called the Russian montage. Russian montage. It's a foundational idea in film editing developed in the 1920s Soviet Union, where the meaning in the film comes not from individual shots, but how they're arranged.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of cool. So this is obviously not the first film to do it, but it was pretty cool.
Well, no, I think something that's really interesting, and it's something that I try to do in my work, perhaps not as radical as this, is I try to cut for emotion. So I always think, well, what's the core emotion of each scene, and sort of get rid of, like, quite literally in, say, Afterlife. Afterlife is a very quiet film, and we got rid of a lot of dialogue because we found we just didn't need it because you understood what the emotion was in each bit. And I think this is an extreme version of that, where it's just like you're just cutting for the bits that work, and you're like, who cares about story? Who cares about linear storytelling? Let's figure out if we can tell a story in a way that's different and a way that's kind of emotionally resonating with the audience versus, narratively resonating with the audience.
Yeah, very cool. So one question I wanted to ask you about editing is how closely do you work with the director when you're doing the editing?
Off the hop, like when they're shooting, I basically work day by day. So they'll shoot footage. Overnight it gets processed, and then it comes to me the next day. Overnight it literally used to get processed as film, but now it gets processed digitally. And then it comes to me, and then it comes into the system, and then I edit what they shot the previous day and then send it out the door for the director to look at. And sometimes it's also the DP and the producers or whoever he or she wants to look at the film. And so I do that and sort of chase the shoot to make sure that if we're missing something or if performances aren't quite there or if something does or doesn't work, it's good to have that and kind of have that dialogue going as they're shooting. So you can be like, hey, we could really use a close-up of this or that, or I don't think the introduction worked. I worked on one film where they shot this underwater sequence that was supposed to be the end of the film, and it just didn't work. And so I had to do this very awkward thing of like emailing the director saying, I don't think you got it. And then putting it all together and saying, here it is. Here's your main star in a very cold lake in Ontario, and you're going to have to shoot it again. I'm so sorry. And luckily that star, Anna Kendrick, was more than willing to do it again because it was very invested in the film. But it's one of those.
That's always tough. I've once had to go back. It's different with television commercials.
Yeah.
We get it all in the can and then we edit,
Yeah.
right? So you have to get, and we just didn't, it just wasn't working, and we had to like go shoot again. Luckily I had to go shoot in Barcelona in the summer, so it was nice.
Yeah. And it's so much cheaper, right, to do it while they're shooting. So you've got the machine running rather than starting it up again.
Yeah, just do another take.
So then I finish, the shoot finishes, and then the director comes in and we watch it. And then we work together every day, and it depends on the director. Some directors are really in the suite. Some directors creatively trust you, and they'll sit with you and just be like, okay, I'm going to leave you for a couple of days and have fun. And then you send it to the producers, and the producers tell you what they think of it, and then you work with the director to slightly change it to make it work again. And then more and more people start seeing it, and then you start getting notes back. So so very involved. Wow. Like it's an intense relationship with the director.
So that's a big learning for me. In my head, Gareth, I thought everything was shot, it's handed over to you, and you edit it.
No. I mean, it's just I always say it's just the beginning.
It's what I thought.
Yeah,
too.
No, yeah. You ultimately, and it's just the nature of how it is. You put together according to script, and then you watch it, and you're like, okay, this works sort of, but let's make it better. Yeah. And then you slowly.
And have you ever had to like has the money people ever focus group a movie and come back and you and the director are like, fuck no?
Yeah. A couple of times
the dumbing down. Those are the movies Olen likes.
Well, we've done a lot of movies where you read the trivia and find out the studio made them do big
Studio
changes,
ruined
right?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys know the story about World War Z? Have you heard about that?
No, please tell us.
Much better book.
So basically, the first 2/3 of the film, or first 3/4 of the film, it's mega, right? Like the budget's like insane, and like zombies falling over wall and like all sorts of stuff. And then they crash a plane and they land in Wales, right? And then they've got like this like very small like scene in a laboratory where they're trying to find the lab scene, right?
Yeah.
So basically, the last quarter of the film, they took off in the plane, and per script, they landed in, I think it was either St. Petersburg or Moscow, and it was a final massive zombie battle, and it was like zombies versus humans, and basically it just didn't work, and they had the whole thing. They shot it, did it, and they were in post. They were in post actually the floor above me for like a year and a half, and then basically they're like, this film's either going to be a disaster or we're going to reshoot the ending. And so they spent like something like $5 million or maybe even more, 10 million or something, to reshoot the ending and make the ending what it is now, which is why it goes from this mega huge thing to like Brad Pitt walking down a hallway.
It does. Okay, that's really fascinating.
And it's
cool.
that one of those things where sometimes I've had that a few times where you screen it and people are just like, nope, this doesn't work, and you're like,
and that's why it's so different to the book.
And that's why it's so different to the book.
Because my husband always goes on and on and on about how great the book was, and they ruined
it.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have a favorite director to work with?
I have a few. Yeah, I've worked with Mary Nye on a film called Alice Darling, and our relationship was amazing. I just finished work with a director called Harry Leighton. Sorry, I was going to say Harry Melling, but Harry Melling's the star. Harry Leighton's the director, and it was just an absolute pleasure to work with him. Aleem Khan on Afterlove, a real pleasure as well. To be honest, I generally, I mean, Thomas Vincent, who I worked with on Roleplay, like I love working with people, and it's really nice working with all these different people. And sometimes you have a great experience with a person, but the film doesn't quite work out. And then sometimes you have a tough experience and you go through the rigor of trying to get this film to work, and it's a real grind, but then the film becomes amazing. So sometimes it's sometimes the job is great and sometimes the film's great, and sometimes it's both.
Yeah. Mary's a great I've had a dinner party with Mary Nye.
No.
I've met her dad.
Oh,
as well.
cool.
Yeah. She's a lovely human.
Oh, she's great. Yeah. She's amazing. Yeah. I just did a commercial with her and her dad. Which is really fun.
Oh, great.
Yeah. He's got a clothing line out for John Smedley. Yeah, there's a plug right there.
No plug.
So let's talk about the cast a little bit, or I want to talk about the cast a little bit, because I want to say, first of all, Terence Stamp, excellent. Luis Guzman, I love him.
Terence recently died.
He did, yeah.
He did, yeah. Luis Guzman, I love him and everything. He's great. But I'm going to throw out, in my worst parts, I actually have Peter Fonda. I don't love Peter Fonda in this. I don't think he's a good actor.
Right. Interesting.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I thought his lines and the way he delivered everything just felt like I couldn't tell if he was just bad or they were trying to make it seem like too realistic. Like, I don't know. It felt very odd because Terence Stamp was awesome.
Yeah, maybe he's just okay and everybody else was great in this, so it showed more. But
I thought he came across as slimy really well, which I liked. I thought in the role.
Yeah.
Do you guys asking the younger guys whose names I can't remember because I'm terrible with names? Anthony and comedian Josh.
Yeah, comedian.
Do you guys know who Peter Fonda is?
No, but I know his daughter.
The Fondas,
right.
But yeah.
His daughter, who? Bridget Fonda.
Jane Fonda
is his sister.
Oh, sister, right.
So Bridget
Fonda.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the parents were on Golden Pond or whatever, right? Was that
Yeah.
the thing?
Yeah. Well, Jane Fonda was and Henry Fonda was on Golden Pond together, the father and daughter.
Yeah.
And Henry Fonda was like a mega star in the old, like, so he kind of grew up. And then Peter Fonda was in Easy Rider. And so he was a kind of an icon of the 60s, which is one of the reasons why he was cast in this film. But I think that's really interesting because I think when people watched it, and certainly in 1999, Peter Fonda was like, oh my God, it's the guy from the 60s. This totally works that he's a music exec because he is a music guy from the 60s.
Yeah.
But that's really interesting with your eyes seeing it today, going, his performance wasn't that great.
Yeah, not getting that reference and just looking at the performance itself. Yeah.
Yeah, I was expecting more of a, I don't know, not a face, but I guess maybe for me I wouldn't understand. You guys would recognize him, but I was thinking more of a standalone star for this, I guess, but maybe he was back then.
He had a moment back then in the 90s too. He did a film called Uli's Gold, I think it was, or something, and he had a moment where I think he was nominated for an Oscar, and it was right around this time, so he kind of had this little blip of like, oh, he's back kind of thing. And then
I think, and I'll say what sold him for me too in the role, just because I don't know, but when he was telling the story about the hitting the dough on the motorcycle to the girl, and she did she was like, you told me this one before.
Yeah.
Like, oh, have I? And also the whole time I was like, I'm sorry, you hit a deer on a motorcycle and lived? I don't know about that.
Can I share the trivia on that scene?
Yeah.
Sure.
So he actually, in real life, hit a deer with his car. And when he did this scene, he recorded the one as written, and then he recorded the one from his real life, and they used the one from his real life.
Wow.
Okay, I felt that.
They said it fit the movie better. I thought just these cool little, trivia bits I always find so interesting. Okay, well let's talk about best parts about this movie, what you guys liked in it. And for me, I loved the friendship that developed, this unlikely trio. It was pretty cool the way that developed along the way.
Mine was the DEA scene where Bill Duke and Terence Stamp are talking, and that's that stillness versus pressure, and that's that point I was talking about earlier where there's a slight desync in the dialogue that felt more like a memory. So I really like that. And then the flashbacks. So I really like how Soderbergh took footage from an old Terence Stamp movie, Poor Cow.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so
Okay,
good.
thank you.
Right?
What's it called?
Poor
sorry?
Cow.
Poor
It's a
Cow.
Kenneth Loach film.
Okay, that was one of the questions I came in with today.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So because it wasn't nostalgia, it was almost archaeology, you know what I mean? In it, that was really cool. And then that little airplane smile when he remembers that his daughter was in an acting class, and so after all the cruel things that had been said about her or what she was doing, she was still his girl, trying to do something with her life. I felt just that little slight smile was a big moment for me. Those are my favorite parts.
Mathew, I absolutely love the use of the old footage, and now I'm going to give you some trivia on that. So Soderbergh went to the studio to ask them for the rights to Poor Cow, and he wasn't sure which scenes he wanted to use, so he said, just give me the rights to the whole movie. And they said no, and he said, okay, then I'm never making a film for you. And they said, all right, take it.
Nice.
Baller.
So that's how much power he had already.
Right.
That's what talent brings you, Olen. Remember that when we work together.
But okay. All right.
I liked a lot of the scenes that were just kind of more focused on Wilson and his kind of delivery and the way he kind of commanded the screen. I really resonated with that. I thought they should have done more of it in how they told the story, but he was great.
Well, one of my favorite moments and one of my favorite lines combined is bring the car around and make sure it's pointed downhill. I love that because something's coming.
Oh, and the scene where he headbutts the big bodyguard and throws him
tosses
off.
him over. It's so good.
I
Well,
love
just
how they
it
had
was like out of focus in the background.
As much as I didn't like some of the cinematography, there was a few really good techniques they used. I love that. That was one of my favorites.
Except he wasn't 400 pounds.
He was
They
more.
said in the movie, he's 400 pounds. How did he take him down? It's like, he's not 400 pounds. He's like 220. Come on.
I just love how casual, there's something that's really nice too, I think, culturally about how he does it. Like, it's very British. Like, he grabs him, headbutts him, and then throws him. Like, you know what I mean? There's
Glasgow
just so no fuss. Like, it's just he just does it. And I think it's just a really very clever way of doing it very quickly. And then he just leaves.
Yeah.
No, I liked it. It was cool.
Yeah, I like really related to what your dad said off the top, because I almost didn't write notes for this movie. I was so just watching it the whole time. I didn't want to stop. But I loved, like Mathew said, the whole the scene between him and the cop. I loved how he made a point to be like, when I got pinched the second time. No, wait. It was the third time. Like, he wants to be very clear. It was the third time in jail. And then I also loved the guy being like, oh, so you've never done things for money? And he's like, all right, fair point. Yes, in the past I have been known to redistribute wealth. I thought that was really good. And there was this one scene, it's just, I don't even know. I'm trying to think of when it was. I think they were driving up, but it was like the three guards, and they were arguing about what a sliding scale was.
Yeah.
That was good.
It's just a random part that I loved so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really, really liked a lot of this movie.
Okay. Anything you guys didn't like? Worst parts of this? I can start us off. I don't like the idea of bad guys keeping clients' names in a paper Rolodex. I don't like the idea that if I'm doing criminal behavior, you can just go to one of my clients and just flip. That's him. Bad guy. Under B for bad guy.
But I guess it would be in your phone these days, right? Like, it would be like
Yeah.
like, I think it's so funny and archaic that's, like it would have been, yeah.
What year was this supposed to be?
I think it was
Anybody know?
supposed to be 1998, 99. Like, it was,
The year
it was present day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, the worst part that I felt the middle section looped maybe a little bit too much, and that the repetition sort of dulled the tension. I think part of what the guys were saying about Fonda is, I think it was kind of the characters as well. So Fonda's sort of new age calm really clashed with Stamp's precision. I think maybe that's what you're feeling a little bit versus bad acting. And a few of the minor characters felt a little bit thin, but still love the film.
I just thought everybody was such a strong character, and then Peter Fonda, I was like, come on, step it up. Like, I don't know. Maybe it was intentionally done, and it just didn't work for me. But
Another thing it's not a criticism of this movie per se, it's just a thing in general I hate, is when they let the bad guy just kind of go at the end. Like, you went through all that, and you're just going to walk away.
But why did he do that? Why did he let him go? Because it's important. I was going to say that this is one of my favorite moments in the film. So for you, why do you think he let him go?
I think he let him go because he took more joy in him being weak and vulnerable.
Mathew says no.
So he realized, like, she obviously cared for the guy because they had the same thing with the daughter, that she was faking calling, or going to call the cops on him to get him to stop doing the bad things, right? So he realized in that moment that, oh my God, my daughter actually cared for this guy. It wasn't
exactly.
Like just a fling relationship.
And also that he basically had sowed this seed of, he does bad things. Yeah. She's going to say, I'm going to call the cops. And then it's an idle threat. She's not really going to do that, but what's his name? Valentine thinks he is. So then.
And what doesn't he even says she wouldn't?
Yeah.
She wouldn't have, right?
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, but he freaks out and he doesn't want to get her, so he kills her, or doesn't mean to, but he kills her, and it's because he thinks that she's going to call the cops, and then he realizes basically he's responsible for his own daughter's death.
Yeah.
I have to say, accidentally snapping someone's neck, that sounds a little suspicious to me.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with what you guys are saying, but I'm still killing the guy if he does that to me.
Right. Yeah.
That's where I get disconnected.
I was going to ask the question, but you dropped it.
I'm more of a revenge guy.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. You bought into the culture.
Eye for an eye.
I think my groceries are here, so can we take 5? Is that cool?
Yeah, take 5. Go.
I'm back.
Was that an Ocado delivery? Is there still Ocado in the UK?
Hilariously, not Ocado. We don't run in those circles. We Sainsbury's.
Okay.
This is the difference between working in independent film and advertising, right there.
What this isn't just food delivery. This is waitress food delivery.
Exactly. Yeah. No, Sainsbury's.
Okay, we are getting into the next section, which is favorite line. So anybody want to give the classic line from the movie?
I can't yell because my kid's downstairs, but it's tell him I'm effing coming.
Yeah. Fully improvised and probably the most iconic part of the movie now.
Wow. I didn't know it was improvised. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I think what's great about that movie, it's sort of like grief disguised as fury, and it's not a threat; it's a promise, which that's why it like works so well, right?
I was just gonna say, as I said right at the beginning, I just love the intro in that way to the next character, like the tell him I'm coming, and then it's like, tell him I'm coming, tell him I'm coming. Who's he talking? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just love the way that it's all there, and it's like, well, who's he talking about? Who knows? And then it goes into that sort of montage of Peter Fonda. Like, it's really cool.
Yeah, it was really well done.
That was one of my favorite ones. I had two other ones. One is who does he think he is, the Marquis of fucking Tavistock? And I love that line because it's like perfect British venom. Like one line and you know exactly who he is and everything he despises, right? And the other one is when they're standing on that pool that juts out, and one guy says, "What are we standing on?" The other one says, "Trust." And that's sort of the film's philosophy, kind of in one exchange. So yeah, those are my three favorites.
Okay, I have a couple.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Ed.
I was gonna say I had that pool one too. I love that one. There was a scene in the pool hall where the guy's like, "I tell you to blow it out your ass, but my dick's in the way."
Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
And then I know it's not a quote per se, but that whole scene when he walks in to like in the airport, and he just walks in the door and just starts going off to the guy. I thought that whole diatribe was perfect.
Yeah, and then the guy's like, "I have no idea what you're saying to me."
Well, no. I have the quote here because it's one of my favorite lines.
Yeah.
There's one thing I don't understand. Every word you say.
That was great.
Okay, so my favorite quote, it might be my favorite quote of all time, and I put it in the woke or joke section. We have a section where sometimes we talk about things that haven't aged that well, so I'm going to bring that forward with my favorite quote, which is, "The smartest thing to ever come out of a woman's mouth is Einstein's dick."
Oh my God.
That was in the movie. I didn't write it.
You know, since we're on woke or joke, I think this movie is quietly woke in its own way in that it sees through bravado. I think you were talking about this, like his realization. It's about men trying and failing to make sense of consequence, and in the end, there's absolutely no glory. There's just aftermath, right? So it's woke that way for me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was just gonna say if we are going to woke or joke, because I agree. Like the only character I didn't agree with was like, yeah, you said some slurs and some homophobic remarks or whatever, but I'm always okay with that when it's a bad guy doing it, because or you hope that they'll get their comeuppance, and it's an easy way to be like, hey, hate this character, you know?
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, racist or homophobic or sexist stuff is actually I watch shows sometimes and realize it's a device to get you to hate them even more. Yeah. So you want them to get their comeuppance, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to transition to tell you guys how this movie did. So I think the fact that none of us heard about it, we know that it didn't do great. But according to Box Office Mojo Worldwide, The Limey was the 174th highest earning film at the box office in 1999, confirming that good doesn't mean successful. This was actually a monster year at the box office, with the number one earner being Star Wars Phantom Menace, which brought in $1 billion basically, and The Sixth Sense at $672 million, so some monsters that year. But I just want to put it in context. I think you guys like this movie. So to put it in context, The Limey was beat by American Pie. Big Daddy did 80 times better than this movie.
Never heard of Big Daddy.
It's a great
Adam
Sandler
movie. It was awesome.
The Muppets from Space did 10 times this movie.
Perfect. You gotta love the Muppets.
And I'd like to tell you what it beat, but I don't recognize any titles below it on the list. So this didn't do great. The budget for this movie was $10 million, and this might be an easy one to guess. Who wants to guess how it did at the box office?
Because you said it did poorly, I'll say it made its budget.
$3.3 million. Cost 10 to make, it did $3.3 million.
I was gonna say 9.
That's
and 10 million back then is like 25 now.
Yep.
So you said they spent 10 million on this?
They spent 10 million on this to get 3.3 back.
That makes me feel superior.
Everything makes you feel superior, Mathew, just for the record.
I would have also said money back just because it was Soderbergh and he went on to do so many things. So I would have thought it contributed
That's
a little
such a
bit, but
shame.
that's crazy.
10 million seems like a lot. Like no offense to the film, but like there wasn't crazy CGI or extravagant scenes. Really, it was a lot of I don't know.
Could have
Seems
been
like
a lot of location stuff. They did have a lot of nice spots.
Yeah, I guess.
A lot of very famous actors.
Yeah, the stars would have ratcheted it up.
Okay, so here's the thing. So a lot of us enjoyed this film quite a bit. It was slaughtered at the box office, but let's get to the truth with Rotten Tomatoes. Critics and audience, did people really like this movie? So Gareth, are you familiar with Rotten Tomatoes?
Of course, yeah. I've got my latest film that's coming out soon. It's currently 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is like, yes.
Oh, congrats.
It's holding strong.
Oh, wow.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, congrats.
Nice.
I like the Rotten Tomato scale because it's not this 9 out of 10, 7 out of 10 bullshit. It's like, do you like the film or not? Okay, so you understand how it works. So critics and audience, we like to get everybody to guess how close they can get.
Okay, I'm gonna say critics adored this film and say it was like 98, and then with audience, I think they probably came for Get Carter, but got grief and jump cuts. That's how they're gonna feel. So I'm gonna say like 50.
That's how I felt, Matthew.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, yeah, I kind of agree with Matthew there a lot. But I'll go like 85 for critics and 35 for audience.
Wow.
Interesting. I was going to flip it. I figured the critics would be down on it, and maybe that drove a lot of the people not seeing it. So I was going to go like 65 for critics, and I think audience will be high. I think it'll be like 80, 85. Let's go with 85.
It's interesting. I think I remember the critics sort of being a bit split, and I think some people thought Soderbergh was being very clever and sort of like a little bit too clever kind of thing. So yeah, I would say that some of the critics actually really slated it, if I remember correctly. And then I think it just died. I think people liked it, like people who were into independent film liked it, but then the general public were like, nope.
Okay.
So yeah,
pick a number critics and pick a number audience. Let's see how close you can get.
78% critics, and maybe 55% audience.
Okay. Drum roll.
So here's the answer. Critics 92. Critics loved it, and audience 78. And
wow.
This is so cool. So Gareth, these guys have been getting better and better. So I take how far off you were and add them together, and that's your score, and lowest score wins. And these guys have been getting down to like 10, 15 in episodes because they're getting better at predicting. You guys blew it, all of you. Mathew a 34, Joshua at a 34, Anthony, you were a 50, and Gareth a 37. So Mathew and Josh, you tied with a 34.
Josh,
but
I'll take it. Yes.
I lose this one every time.
But I love this part of the
It's
podcast.
an honor to be tied with Mathew for once. That's never happened.
By the way, I got to say, Mathew, you mentioned Get Carter. I love that movie.
Okay, so I have a really, really fun little trivia fact about this film
Great.
that references Get Carter, which is I was working at the Fifth Avenue Cinemas on Burrard when this came out. And I was very fortunate. I worked at the Fifth Avenue for a number of years at the height of like 90s indie film. And so I got to see so much stuff. And so the Limey was one of them. Limey was hugely popular. And at the time, we were also this really cool cinema where all the celebrities used to come. So we had one time where Marilyn Manson showed up, and one time where like Jeff Goldblum showed up, and like all these other celebrities showed up. And in the line to see the Limey was Kenneth Branagh, and I sold him his ticket to see the Limey.
Wow.
Little did he know that we were screening it in cinema number 3, and cinema number 3 had a balcony, and we closed the balcony for that screening because at that same screening, Sylvester Stallone and Mickey Rourke came to watch the Limey, and it was when he was shooting Get Carter in Vancouver, the remake.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's a Get Carter little tie in there.
Well, obviously, I like
cool.
the Michael Caine one best, but I actually like the Stallone one too. I thought it was fun. I'm going to use that as a segue to go into trivia. Now, I just...
Josh just saw my face, didn't you, Josh?
I sometimes feel bad for the viewers not getting, or the listeners not getting to see your facial expression.
Sorry.
Okay, Matthew's judging me again because I like
need
Stallone.
to express myself verbally.
I'm using this as a segue into trivia, and I've shared a lot of the trivia already, but Get Carter was Michael Caine, and the original casting, Michael Caine was supposed to be Wilson.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
So there's another tie-in. Yeah, that would have, he would have been great. He would have been great at it.
Great.
I think I would have absolutely adored this film if he was in that role.
And then just two more things on how this movie came together. So Soderbergh says he's not bothered by bad reviews. He'd rather have a character be underwritten than over-explained. I think that's clear in this, and I kind of like that philosophy. And the lack of details for many of the characters is Lem Dobbs' main problem, Steven Soderbergh. When I read the reviews that say style over substance, I blame you, says Len Dobbs to Soderbergh. He says the reviews that make him angry are those that blame him for the film being underwritten, and Soderbergh explained that the spine of the film was about Wilson and his daughter. He didn't want to detour away from that.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get on Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm going to say, thank God Soderbergh took an overwritten script and cleaned it up.
Okay, well, there's another great segue. I'm going to go into the reviews now. So, however you guys felt about this movie, I promise you there's others who liked it more or less than you. And there were 42 10-star reviews out of 298. And I'm going to read you just a couple of them to give you a taste. So, a reviewer called Tom Not Arnold. It's nothing I've ever seen before. You'll want to watch it again and again. Heck, I think I'll go watch it again right now. A reviewer called Cyber Ninja says, what I loved about this film was how compact it was, but what a good story it told. Terence Stamp was controlled and scary, plus the editing. I just read that Soderbergh did the editing under a pseudonym. How he pre-lapped the dialogue over memory was fantastic and brilliant. Okay, another reviewer, Flash Kalan. It's an amazing movie, brilliantly acted by all, and one of 1999's and Soderbergh's most overlooked movies. And then I like this one because it speaks to the editing too. MD Film says this film is the quiet murmuring of a new wave of filmmaking. The editing style of this film and others like Fight Club and Magnolia are very advanced and almost anti-continuity, therefore anti-Hollywood, yet fall more into a category of new continuity. The cut-up styles give new meaning to its subject matter in a way that a straightforward narrative plot could not. There you go. People recognize the editing is cool. But just for contrast, let's hear from the people who liked it less. And for this movie, there were 14 one-star reviews compared to the 42. So L. Jones, this film left me violated. I feel I've been abused by having to sit through Soderbergh pleasuring himself for 85 minutes with the most self-indulgent filmmaking I've ever seen. The Limey is like a dagger of pain that removes the will to live from the viewer as they watch it. So not everyone liked it.
Sounds like Soderbergh really enjoyed himself. That's good.
Someone called Victor Drake says there's only so many times and from so many camera angles you can see this guy say the same line before this wacky directorial style starts to grate. The story's paper thin, the acting is wooden, and the direction is as bizarre and talent-free as I've now come to expect from the director, Steven Soderbergh. Oh, and as a British viewer, I found the fact that Stamp explains his Cockney rhythmic slang to every American he meets embarrassing.
I just don't think I'm smart enough to understand Cockney rhyming slang. I don't think I could make the connections in my head as fast as they point them out.
I had in my favorite parts the word nobbled.
You got to incorporate that into your daily lingo.
Okay.
It's funny. Cockney slang is hilarious. I've got to look this up. Hang on one second. Sorry, keep going, Olen, because I gotta. I'll mention something in a second.
Oh, okay, you look it up. So let's go to the professionals and see what they thought. So Siskel and Ebert. So unfortunately, Siskel was dead. In this year, February 1999, he died from a brain tumor at the young age of 53. But Ebert carried on with the show, and on this episode, his co-host was someone called Ruby Rich. Ebert called it a thriller, but said it was also sociological. He liked the way it showed that the next generation weren't as tough as the old guys. He said it was a complex film and he loved it. Ruby, well, first of all, she was way too nice to Ebert. I kind of missed the vibe that he had with Siskel. But Ruby called it a father-daughter story. She loved the way Soderbergh used old film footage for flashbacks. She called it remarkable. So they gave it 2 thumbs way up. They loved it. Okay, Gareth, you got something for us?
So the Cockney slang thing I think is hilarious because generally people will rhyme something, but then they'll drop the thing that rhymes, right?
Yeah.
So we had builders in a little while ago, in our house, and this guy's like, "Hey man, I need a Jimmy," and I was like, "Hey," and he's like, "Do you mind if I use the toilet?" And I was like, "Right, okay." And then basically I had to go and like Google like Jimmy Cockney slang, and a Jimmy Riddle is a piddle, which means he had to take a piss.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I love the fact that like it's like so like you go down the wormhole.
It becomes just part of the language, like you're supposed to understand it without the context. It's great. I love Cockney slang.
In the movie, Gareth, he says, "I'm going to take a butcher's hook," and the guy goes, "What are you talking about?" He said, "I'm going to take a look."
Yeah, but you would say butchers. Like I actually say like that. People use that all the time. Like, can we take a butcher's at the edit?
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's just, and you just know. Yeah, there's quite a lot. There's still, it's amazing because it's still totally in the vernacular.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but you would say butchers. Like I actually say like that. People use that all the time. Like, can we take a butcher's at the edit?
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's just, and you just know. There's quite a lot. There's still, it's amazing because it's still totally in the vernacular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you guys: does this film deserve a remake or a sequel? Do you guys want to see more from these guys?
Leave it alone. It only worked because of Terence Stamp, and his face is now history. Any remake, I think, would flatten it. A sequel would explain too much, and a prequel would ruin the mystery.
Pretty definitive. Anybody disagree?
Not really. He kind of spelled that out well.
Okay, well, I looked it up, and Soderbergh said Wilson's last lines of dialogue to the passenger sitting next to him on the plane to England set up the plot for the planned sequel in which he was going to seek revenge against the man who sent him to prison. But
wow.
But it tanked, so it didn't get a sequel. But in 2009, Soderbergh and Stamp were talking about a sequel and were trying to get something going, but they never did.
No.
Gareth, why do I so often like beautiful, misunderstood movies that nobody else likes? Like why is, I don't mean to, I just do. What is that?
You've got good taste.
And also, Gareth, what happened? You just reminded me in the late 80s and the 90s, I used to go to these independent cinemas and watch all these independent films and foreign films, and that all went away. What happened?
Two things. One, basically, it became prohibitively expensive to have films like that in cinema. Like, they just don't make money. And digital technology allowed these films to be shot digitally. Like, I remember I saw one film, actually a few films in the late 90s that were shot on DV and then blown up to 35 to project, which seems insane now. Like, that just sounds like that's just crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, digital technology, streamers and stuff like that. And then ultimately films just became more about like commodity and turning stuff over. And so instead of all these different films that you'd have in the cinemas, you have 4 cinemas out of 5 showing Marvel movies because they can space them out and just pack them and sell them out. And then you'll have one like cinema out of 5 showing something maybe a little bit more esoteric, but if it just doesn't make money, it just moves on.
Okay, and then my next question: why does Philip Glass music work so well for so many films?
It just really, it's just really beautiful, isn't it? That and what do you call it?
Michael Nyman.
Yeah. No, I was also.
He did lots of Peter Greenaway films, didn't he?
Yeah. But I was thinking of the guy. Hang on one second. Let me just think. And please remove all this from the edit.
Edit can Olen this. I just suppose.
Yeah.
Leave that in, Olen.
Edit can Olen this.
Edit's a pretty good nickname, though, Olen. I'd run with that.
And Max Richter.
Oh yeah,
anything that Max Richter does. Yeah. So on The Nature of Daylight, it's just like you put that to someone reading a phone book, and it just becomes like cinematic. It's amazing.
Do you know when Max Richter, the first time Sleep was performed, which is like an 8-hour piece?
Yeah.
They did it with beds, and everyone like snuggle up into beds and listen to it, and they just rotate the musicians because it was 8 hours of straight playing. It's really cool.
Yeah, they actually did it here, and I missed it, and I was really gutted.
Oh no!
Yeah, it would have been amazing to be a part of that.
You know, when Mathew really likes a film, I like to deflate him a little bit by saying, could have used more swords. More sword fights would have been better.
And I still think we should, a few episodes we did like, what would the porn version of this be?
Yeah.
And I think Tell 'em I'm coming, tell 'em I'm fucking coming would be. Sorry, go ahead.
You'll really enjoy my new film if you're on that tip.
Oh
Excellent.
yeah, what do you got coming up?
Give it a plug.
It's a film called Pillion, which is about a BDSM motorbike scene.
Oh, nice.
Gay BDSM motorbike scene that is in England. Yeah, it actually
Say less for Mathew. He's in.
It played at the Vancouver Film Festival recently. Actually, I was out there for it.
Great. I can see the VIF out my window right now.
Oh no way! That's
Yeah.
nice.
I live in Yaletown, so.
Oh, that's cool.
Sometimes I just saunter over there and just see whatever's playing.
Nice. It's great.
Okay, so I think we've reached our audience's level of Mathew.
Hey, Olen, I just want to clarify something because
Yeah.
I'm sure my dad might be listening to this podcast.
Oh,
which
I'm
is
sure he will.
when you said that you were into action films and specifically Roadhouse, and I said, oh yeah, well you're into martial arts. I didn't mean that in a negative way, and I wasn't saying that like action films are dumb because and martial arts are like. What I meant was specifically in Roadhouse, I remember watching that with my dad, who's a karate instructor, and him sort of breaking down all the techniques that Patrick Swayze was using and all the different things. So I actually specifically with that film have a very fond memory of watching that with my dad and discussing like the Mawashi-garis and everything that he was doing.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I like the new Roadhouse because of Jake.
Good Lord.
He's
you
hot.
like the Get Carter Stallone version, but you
I don't like the Stallone version.
But I know
Matthew hates Stallone.
Sorry, you don't like this, but you like the new Roadhouse.
But he's saying
Because Jake Gyllenhaal.
yeah, he was saying
hot.
if Stallone looked like Gyllenhaal, he would have.
Matthew, you make no fucking sense.
I get it. It's fine.
That is okay. It's not just me making dumb comments then. That's good. Okay.
Pure gold.
Okay, Mathew has just segued us into the category, is it too old or pure gold? This is how we wrap up every podcast. Millennials, what do you think?
I mean, based on like how much fun I had during it, and I'd tell people to watch it for sure, I would say pure gold. I liked it.
Great.
I have to respectfully say too old.
It's okay. That's why we do this. And for me, I'm going to say pure gold because I really appreciate you introduced me to a film I otherwise wouldn't have seen, and it was interesting. It was totally interesting.
Great.
Yeah.
Another thing I just want to say on that too that kind of shocked me. I didn't really think about it until you guys started talking about it. This movie felt really modern to me. I'm kind of shocked that it was made in the 90s.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yep. It was good. Gareth, so fun having you on here. Love to hear about the art of editing. I think we're more and more having our eyes opened into what goes into making some of these films. We all like talking about movies, and this was a great conversation, so appreciate you taking the time.
Please
No,
come on.
absolute pleasure,
again.
guys. Like it's a real fun thing to do. So thank you so much for having me on.
You would be perfect for our Roadhouse episode. I'm saving
which
that one.
version are you doing?
By the way, I have to tell Gareth another one of my favorite titles since we're on the subject of swords, which is Blind Fury. I love as well, with Rutger Hauer. Oh my God.
Yeah.
We did that episode already. It was phenomenal.
Olen's been threatening to do Gymkata for a long time now.
Oh, Mathew, the whole idea of being chased by villagers and finding a pommel horse in the middle of the square that allows you to defeat them all, and you're telling me that's not a good premise.
You know, when we had to do the pommel horse in high school, we
you don't want to hear the end of this story.
we nicknamed it Pomela the horse.
Okay.
That went better than I thought it was going to go.
It did. I thought I was going to have to edit that out, but I think we're good.
My favorite part was the rings, though.
Okay. Let's wrap this up. Thanks, millennials, for joining. Mathew, thanks for being you.
Thank you for being you,
fun.
Olen.
This was great
Gareth,
talking to you,
come
Gareth.
on again, please. You
Thank you
elevate
so much.
the whole conversation.
Totally.
Say yes. Say yes.
A pleasure, guys. Anytime.
See you, Josh.
All right.
It's great. Nice to
guys.
have you on.
Bye.
See you, Gareth.
Bye.
Bye, Josh.